My name is Sarah. I'm 50 years old. I love pancakes, but I realized a few years ago that I absolutely did not want a pancake booty. I am not trying to fit into my old jeans from 1987. That is not my goal. But I realized something crucial when I looked in the mirror one morning. I saw my long silver hair catching the light. I saw my thin, radiant skin that I worked so hard to maintain. I saw a woman who is sophisticated and vibrant. But when I looked at my lower body, I felt a sudden drop in my stomach. I saw that my glutes were disappearing. I felt a deep ache in my lower back every time I sat at my desk to handle my daily tasks. I understood right then that my body is my greatest investment at 50. I needed a rounder rump, a stronger lower body, less cellulite, and strong bones. I needed to literally turn the engine of my body back on. If you're also tired of watching your glutes flatten out as you age, feeling your back ache, and losing your metabolic fire, and you want to learn how I rebuilt my body's engine right from my own home, hit the subscribe button and leave a like. Let's get stronger together. I want to be completely honest with you. Even after 50, who doesn't want a cute butt? It feels good to look in the mirror and see elegant musculature. It feels amazing to put on a tailored dress and see a strong, lifted shape. But I quickly learned that this journey is about so much more than vanity. It is about having a faster metabolism. It is about building a better, stronger back. It is about having strong knees and powerful legs to carry you through a highly productive life. Did you know that 70% of lower back pain is a result of having weak glutes? I was shocked when I read that. I had been rubbing creams on my back and complaining about my desk chair, but the problem was my backside. It was weak. I decided that I wanted to age powerfully. I wanted to be a vibrant mentor for others, and I knew I had to fix my foundation. You see, I always thought I was doing the right things. I am a highly productive woman. I am always moving. I thought the exercises I was doing to build my body were the right ones, but I was doing them the wrong way. I want to share exactly how I changed my home gym routine to turn that engine back on. I want to tell you how I built a stronger body and how I am aging with pure vitality. I used to think that just getting my steps in was enough. I would walk briskly around my neighborhood, proud of my productivity. I was active, but then I stumbled upon a study from the University of Waterloo. They looked at brisk walking and how it actually activates the glutes. I read the numbers and I almost dropped my coffee. Less than 32% of our glute muscles are firing even when we are doing an intense walk. Just 32%. That means 2/3 of the largest, most important muscle group in your entire body is basically asleep while you are walking. I felt so betrayed. Walking is wonderful. I still walk every day. But is it helping you to build stronger glutes and a powerful lower body? The answer is no, it is not. I realized I actually had to do strength training, and not just picking up random weights. I had to do the exact right exercises with the exact right form. I felt a shift in my mindset. I told myself that I am not trying to look like a 30-year-old with artificial curves. I want structural integrity. I want the machinery of my body to run perfectly. I read research in a sports physical therapy journal that found nearly 70% of chronic low back pain in people over 50 was directly linked to weak glutes. When our glutes are weak, they basically just turn off. I felt this happening to me. I noticed my butt getting flatter and I felt ashamed at first. I thought maybe this is just what happens after a certain age. But then I learned that muscles are just muscles. They respond the exact same way if we train them right. Let me explain what happens when we sit a lot. I work from home often. I spend hours sitting. When we do that, we strengthen our hip flexors and the front of our legs, but the muscles in our backside literally turn off. Our glutes are the engine of our body. When we turn off the most important engine, the body is really smart. It asks what other muscle group can take over. And you know what takes over? The lower back. I felt this every single day. My back became the crane. It became the shock absorber, and it simply could not handle all of that pressure. That is why I was experiencing so much back pain. We are a kinetic chain. When my back hurt, my knees started to hurt. My hips ached. It also ruined my metabolic health. I learned that if my glutes were turned off, I was losing muscle there. And if I lose muscle, my metabolism slows down. I felt sluggish. I felt tired. And I refused the tired label. One study showed that people with stronger glutes had a 12% higher metabolic function. That is massive. I also learned that weak hips and glutes are a huge predictor of falling as we get older. I want to be walking tall and elegant for decades. I needed to build foundational strength. I used to do yoga and Pilates. I loved them. But they were not building the brute strength I needed to rev up my metabolism. I started making very subtle changes to how I lifted weights in my home gym. I am talking about very minor tweaks to my form that made all the difference in the world. I transformed my lower body after 50. I train my lower body 3 days a week now. I want to walk you through the 5 exercises that completely changed my physique and my energy. The biggest problem I had to overcome is something called glute amnesia. It means my brain literally lost the connection to my muscles. I remember sitting in my chair one day and trying to just squeeze my glutes. Nothing happened. It felt like my muscles forgot how to work. I had to rebuild that connection. I had to learn how to feel the stretch phase and the squeeze phase. The squeeze phase is when the muscle is the tightest. The stretch phase is when it is elongated. I learned to actually picture the muscles working in my mind. The first exercise that changed my life is the Romanian deadlift. I call it the RDL. The word deadlift used to scare me. I thought it was for massive bodybuilders, but it is just a hip hinge. I set up my space in my living room. I grab my dumbbells and hold them just in front of my thighs. I start with my feet shoulder-width apart. My toes are slightly turned out. The most important thing I learned is to never lock my knees. My knees are soft. I close my eyes and I imagine that I am standing with my back next to a car door. My hands are full of groceries, so I have to close the car door by pushing my butt back. I am not squatting. I am moving my hips straight backward. I feel the dumbbells staying very close to my shins. I imagine I am almost shaving my legs with the weights. If I let the weights drift forward, I feel a sharp pull in my lower back. I do not want that. I keep them close. I push my hips back until I feel a deep, burning stretch in my hamstrings. That stretch is my stop sign. I do not try to touch the floor. Then, I imagine the back of my legs are a pulley system. I squeeze my glutes hard, and that squeeze is what lifts my upper body back to the top. I keep a tennis ball-sized space under my chin so my neck stays straight. I look in my sliding glass door to check my reflection. I felt my hamstrings and glutes stretching and squeezing like never before. The sweat drips down my face, but I feel incredibly powerful. The second exercise I brought into my home routine is the hip thrust. I used to hate these. I really did. I thought squats were the only way. But I read a massive 2025 systematic review that proved hip thrusts create greater glute growth than squats or deadlifts alone. I listened to the science. I set myself up right on the edge of my living room couch. I sit on the floor and lean my upper back against the edge of the sofa, right under my shoulder blades. I take a heavy dumbbell and rest it right on top of my hips. At first, I made a huge mistake. I used to arch my back and look up at the ceiling when I pushed my hips up. My lower back would scream in pain. Then I learned the secret. I tuck my chin down slightly. I look forward, almost straight through my knees. As I push my hips up, I do a pelvic tilt. I think of my pelvis like an ice cream scooper, curling upward toward my chin. It makes the movement feel so much harder. I cannot go as high, but the burn I feel in my glutes is unbelievable. It skyrockets the effectiveness. It completely eliminates my lower back from the movement. I push the weight up, squeeze my glutes as hard as I can for 2 seconds, and slowly lower my hips all the way down. When I added these to my routine, I watched my elegant musculature come back to life. My glutes grew rounder and stronger. The third exercise is the Bulgarian split squat. Let me tell you, this one tests my resilience. You do not even need weights when you first start. It is the most functional movement because in everyday life, we do everything one leg at a time. We walk up the stairs one leg at a time. This exercise forces one leg to work totally independently. I quickly realized my right leg was so much stronger than my left. I felt weak and wobbly on my left side. I do this right by my couch. I sit on the couch and extend one leg straight out in front of me until my heel touches the floor. That marks exactly where my front foot needs to be. I stand up on that front foot and place my back foot on the couch behind me. I take a slightly wider stance so I do not lose my balance. Sometimes I even pull a dining chair over so I can hold on to it with a few fingers. There is no shame in using a chair to balance. It actually lets me push harder and get a few more reps in when my muscles are screaming. The secret to making this work for the glutes is the angle of my upper body. I lean my torso forward about 45 degrees. I put all of my pressure into the heel of my front foot. I make sure I am not pressing through the ball of my foot. If I feel it in the ball of my foot, I know I am not leaning forward enough. As I lower my body down, I feel like I am sliding backward toward the couch. Then I push all my weight through that front heel and drive myself back up. The burn is intense. I feel it deep in the muscle. My breathing gets heavy. But I push through because I know this is building my structural integrity. Exercise number 4 is the reverse lunge. I love step-ups and walking lunges, but honestly, they can be brutal on the knees. I want my joints to feel smooth and healthy. I want to protect my knees so I can keep walking my dogs and moving around my house with endless energy. So I stick to stepping backward. I hold my dumbbells and I stand tall. I keep a chair right next to me just in case I need to steady myself. I take one big step backward. I put a small throw pillow on the floor right behind me. That way I never have to worry about banging my knee on the hardwood floor. I lower my back knee all the way down until it lightly taps the pillow. It is so much friendlier on my joints, and it lets me get a very deep stretch. Just like the Bulgarian split squat, I lean my upper body slightly forward. I hold the bottom position for just a second. Then, this is the most important part. I drive all my weight through my front heel to stand back up. I never push off my back foot. I make my front leg do all the heavy lifting. I feel my lower glutes lighting up with heat. I feel the sweat pooling on my collarbone. It is a beautiful, demanding feeling. I feel myself becoming a stronger, more capable woman with every single repetition. The fifth and final exercise is the glute-focused back extension. You can do this on a stability ball or right on the edge of your couch. I use my couch because it is firm. I slide myself forward until my hip bones are right at the very edge of the cushions. My hips are barely supported. My upper torso is hanging off the edge toward the floor. My legs are straight out behind me, and I anchor my feet securely. This is not a traditional back extension. We are not trying to work the back muscles. I let my upper back round over just a little bit. It feels almost like slumping. Then I squeeze my glutes incredibly hard to pull my upper body upward. I do not arch my back at the top. I do not throw my head backward. I just bring my spine up to neutral by using nothing but the power of my glutes. I pause at the top for a full 2 seconds. I squeeze so hard I tremble. Then I slowly lower myself back down. I master this connection between my brain and my muscles. I feel the exact spot where my glutes connect to my hamstrings working over time. I have built an incredible home gym routine, but I also know that progressive overload is the key to everything. That just means I am constantly challenging my body. I never let it get too easy. When the dumbbells I have at home start feeling light, I know it is time to do more. Sometimes I do more repetitions. Sometimes I slow the movement down to make it burn more. And sometimes I go to the gym. Gym memberships are so accessible now. Going to the gym allows me to use heavier equipment safely. I can load up a machine and push my absolute limits without risking an injury to my lower back. I am honest with myself about my progress. When I max out my home weights, I know I need to step into the gym to keep leveling up. I want to be functional. I want applied science to guide my routines. People always ask me how often they should train their lower body. I firmly believe that once you hit 45 or 50, your lower body must become your primary focus. It improves your core, your mobility, your knees, and your fat-burning capacity. It gets rid of that cellulite we all stress over. I train my lower body 3 times a week. I do my upper body twice a week. On one of those leg days, I will mix in some upper body too. I pick 5 or 6 exercises, just like the ones I shared with you today. When it comes to sets and reps, I want you to change how you think. Forget about counting to a magical number. Your body does not know how to count. Your body only understands time under tension. I do 3 sets of each exercise. For each set, I do as many repetitions as I can until I reach momentary failure. That means I get to a point where I feel like I physically cannot do one more movement with good form. I try to reach that point of failure in less than 90 seconds. Usually that ends up being somewhere between 12 and 15 repetitions. But the number does not matter. The tension matters. I keep the tension in my muscles. I feel the deep ache of the muscle fibers working. I breathe through the burn. If I can lift a weight for more than 90 seconds and I am not struggling, I know the weight is simply too light. I put it down and I pick up a heavier one. I want hypertrophy. I want the muscle to grow and become rounder and stronger. To get that, I need resistance that forces me to near failure. And I cannot ignore nutrition. I realize that all this beautiful, elegant muscle I am building requires fuel. I need adequate protein. I used to hate tracking my food. I am a busy, productive woman. I do not have time to sit around doing math all day. I had to find a simple way to make sure I was eating enough protein to support my new strength. I started eating lean meats, rich Greek yogurts, and high-quality protein shakes. I nourished my thin, radiant skin from the inside out. I felt my energy levels soar. I stopped feeling tired in the middle of the afternoon. I look at myself in the mirror now at 50, and I do not see someone who is slowing down. I see a sophisticated woman with long, silver hair who refuses to give up. I see a woman who can lift heavy things, who can work all day without back pain, and who moves with elegance and power. My skin glows. My posture is perfectly straight. The flat, disappearing backside is gone. I built it back with sweat, science, and relentless consistency in my own home. I learned how to hinge, how to thrust, and how to squeeze. I reconnected my brain to my body. I took control of my metabolic health and my future. Every time I step backward into a lunge or push my hips up from the floor, I am not just working out. I am making an investment in my longevity. I am ensuring that I will be traveling, walking my dogs, and dominating my work life for the next 30 years. I am a mentor to my peers. I show them what is possible when you apply focus and refuse the tired label. You have the exact same power inside of you. You just have to wake those muscles up. You have to turn your engine back on. I want to leave you with this final thought. Your body is a masterpiece, but it requires maintenance. You are not destined to weaken as you age. You are destined to become wiser and more powerful. I want you to join me in this pursuit of active longevity. I want to see you build your foundation so strong that nothing can knock you off balance. If you are ready to stop making excuses and start building your strength, I want you to make a commitment right now. Go down to the comments section and type this phrase, "I am strong." Let me know you are with me. Let me know you are ready to invest in your own vitality. We are leveling up together. I am strong, and so are you.